Okay, so we're gonna go over how to trim a fixed retainer. So this is assuming the doctor has placed it and now it's your job to trim the composite to ideal. So this is a finished retainer right here. So usually we'll go 3 to 3 on both sides. And the goal is this is 3 very important and easy to understand components. One is you want to make sure that the composite is within the bounds of the tooth so that it doesn't go in and touch the gum tissue. 2, you want it to have a proper emergence profile so that as it comes off the tooth, it's a nice smooth transition. So no ledges or parts where your explorer will catch, or overhangs or undercuts. And then 3rd, you want to make sure that their teeth are not biting on any of the composite, because if they do, it'll pop it loose over time. So those are the 3 main points. So the way you do this is the following. So I've done some very nifty drawing here, so just bear with me. I know it's not the best. To kind of explain what we're looking at, this is the tongue side of 3 to 3 right here. So this could be upper or lower. So here are the teeth. Here, these black lines are the pads of composite that we've got. The blue line is the retainer. On the 3s, you'll have some kind of bend or loop or something like that you have to kind of work around. But all the wires got to be covered in composite. And then you'll see the pink, this simulates the gum tissue. So what you want is, first you want to come around and trim back this glue or this composite so that it's not touching the gum tissue. So you'll see like here, it's touching the gum tissue. Here it's touching the gum tissue, or the gum tissue is touching the composite, I should say. So what you'll do is you'll take your handpiece, and I'll show you on the cast here. You'll come in here, you'll get your finger rest, and then you come in at this angle. So with a DB burr. Some people will trim these with a round burr. Please don't do that. It's so much easier and nicer with a DB burr. So you come in here and you come in at this angle and you're coming along just like this. You keep it at this angle so that this tip of that can stay under the gum tissue and doesn't like hit the wire, doesn't hit the tooth, doesn't bury itself in the gums. You just come in like this, and nice and neat, you'll come around with just your fingers moving it, and you'll pivot it up. If it's up under the wire, you'll pivot it up like this and work like that to get up in there. And you just want to make sure that there is a clean line of bare enamel between the pad of composite and the gum tissue. Whatever you have to do to make that happen. So you come in here like this and around at this angle, obviously when the rheostat's turning the burr, and go around with all of those. Now, if the doctor has not done you any favors and has left you with a gumball like this, what you're looking for is, pretend this is the burr right here. Pretend this is the DB burr. You want to come in here like this at this angle. You want it to come in at the angle that your final profile or shape of the composite is going to be. So what you want the final shape, instead of having a big undercut or a ledge like that that's impossible to clean, you'll see it's right up against the gum tissue, you want it at the end to be something like that, so that you've got sufficient composite over the wire. You don't want this super thin, or else over time it will wear out and pop loose. So you need sufficient composite over the wire. This is the wire right here, the circle. And you want these to be nice and cleansable so that their toothbrush bristles can get in here and clean this off. And in fact, you might move this up just a little bit so there's a little bit of daylight between the composite and the gum tissue. So the way you do that is you come in here like this at this angle, and you clean this off, and then you come up here at this angle and you work this down like that, and then that will form like a triangle like this. So then you'll come in here like this and go around to round off that triangle. What this looks like in the mouth is you start by going zzz, like this, making sure it's all off the gum tissue, and I'm kind of at this orientation right here. That's the orientation I want. Not like this, because I don't want it to form a big ledge right here. So kind of at this angle, it gives you a nice emergence profile. And if I need to, I'll get up under or near the wire, and then I come around like this and smooth this if I need to. Sometimes I don't have to. If it's good, leave it. But if I need to, I'll trim it in here like this, and then I'll come in here, and if it's like at a sharp angle from those two planes that I just made, I'll just soften that sharp angle so it's not irritating. Okay, so what this looks like on the diagram is I'm gonna come in here and it's gonna be trimmed sort of like this, so that it's not touching the gum tissue anywhere. And then same thing over here, I'll come around and do this number so that it's not touching the gum tissue anywhere. Right in here, I'll smooth this out just a little bit like that. Over here, I'll come in like this and trim it back from any gum tissue. And then right here, this one really went crazy, and it went over here under the wire and almost wants to go between the teeth. So in that case, you would get your DB burr and you'd come in here, don't hit the wire, but you want to get in here and kind of clean this back so it's not touching the gum tissue anywhere, and it's not going under the wire or between the teeth. So it can go to here, you just don't want it to go past the border of the tooth. So you'll come in here and do that. This one's touching just a little bit right there, so you'll just trim it back there, and you don't need to touch any of this as long as it doesn't need this treatment to like solve any undercuts. If it does, you'll come in kind of at this angle and just kind of smooth it off. So then once all of the profiles are made, then you'll have the patient, for the lower retainer, they're not gonna bite on it because the lower teeth go behind the top teeth. But if it's the top teeth like this, you'll take some articulating paper, because you don't want those lower teeth to hit on the composite of the retainer. So you'll have them open, you'll dry the teeth with air, then you'll take the articulating paper, the little bluish square of articulating paper, you'll slide it between the teeth, and you'll have them bite together. They're probably gonna bite together like this. I don't know why people do this, but they bite all kinds of crazy when you ask them to bite. So you'll just say, no, relax, just bite down on your back teeth, and they'll bite down on their back teeth, kind of like that. And then I'll have them tap and grind around a bit, because I want them, if they can hit this composite with their lower teeth, I want them to hit it so that I can then trim that. So what'll happen is if after they bite that, there may be a blue dot here or here or here or all of those places. So what you'll do is you'll take the handpiece, you'll come in here and go zzz, zzz, and clear away where those blue dots were, and then you'll have them bite on articulating paper again. And there's gonna be different blue dots, or maybe the same ones but lighter. And you just keep having them bite the articulating paper, trimming off the blue dots, the composite that has the blue dot on it. And so you bite and trim and bite and trim and bite and trim until there are absolutely no blue dots on any of the composite. They can hit on the teeth, that's fine. You just don't want them touching on the composite. So when you're done, what you want is, again, those 3 points to be achieved. So you want the composite to be within the bounds of the tooth with a clean line between the composite and the gingival tissue, the gum tissue. You want the emergence profile to be nice and cleansable so that it doesn't come out like this, like a big old gumball, and have a big underhang down here where food can get and their toothbrush bristles can't. And you want to have them not biting on any of the composite or the wire. If you find they're biting right on the wire, just go get the doctor and have him take care of that. But if they're hitting on the composite, you just keep trimming that back until they're not hitting on any of it. So when you have them bite on the articulated paper, say they're only hitting right here. So you trim that back, and then you're thinking, okay, we're good. Nope, we're not good. Now that they're not hitting there, they might be hitting over here or over here. So just have them continue to bite on that articulating paper and trim it back until there are no marks on any of the composite, and that's how you know they're not hitting on it. A lot of staff members will just ask the patient, does it feel like you're hitting on anything you weren't hitting on before? Do not ask the patient that until you have verified with the articulating paper, you know for a fact they're not biting on anything. Because when you get to this point in the procedure, they've been in the chair for an hour and 20 minutes, they will tell you whatever they must to be able to get out of the chair and go home. So even if they're biting right on it, they'll say, yeah, that feels good. And then a week later it's popped loose and you have to do it all over again. So just use the articulating paper to verify they're not hitting on anything, and only after you know for a fact they're not hitting on anything, then you can ask them to be courteous. How does that feel? Does it feel like you're hitting on anything you weren't hitting on before? And I'll say, nope, that feels good. And you know it feels good because you've already verified they're not touching it. And then they should be good to go.